Daymond John is here today. He's going to be joining us. A real round of applause here for Daymond here. He's a young entrepreneur, industry pioneer, highly regarded marketing expert, 20 years outside of even Shark Tank. Over the last 20 years, one of the most successful fashion icons in the industry, one of the most sought-after branding experts and really speakers in the country, and a current star of Shark Tank. So please put your hands together and help me welcome Daymond John from Shark Tank. Good to see you again. How are you?
Hi.
So let me start. I have this idea. No, just kidding. So welcome. It's good to see you again.
Thanks
good
for
to see you
having
again. And you're allowed to drink out here if you'd like. It's been cleaned if you want. So why don't you start? So why don't you start real quick? I'd love to know. I think we talked some months ago. I think we actually met at the summit in LA 6 months ago. Yeah. So would love to know. In addition to Shark Tank, what are you up to these days?
Well, I'm obviously doing the Shark Tank is taking a lot of time. I'm acquiring a lot of companies there, and that means working with a lot of green entrepreneurs. And that means, after we do a Shark Tank deal, people call you and they invite themselves over to Thanksgiving and things of that nature because they think they're your family after that. I'm also doing a lot of speaking to corporations, and Gene and Lim and myself, we formed a partnership to help brands out there. And of course, I'm running my brands, FUBU, and I just acquired the brand Etonic, the old sneaker company Etonic.
Oh, okay.
That was really popular in the 70s.
Interesting. So let's start. What are some lessons learned? Let's jump into it. What are some lessons learned? You have a room full of CMOs here. With all the success you've had, what can you share?
I think that some of the most important lessons learned are the fundamentals and what got us here. Every individual in this room obviously had some kind of rock star event during a certain time of their career, and often we forget that, and we put on these blinders due to these other companies and what other people want from us, and sometimes we don't trust our instinct. Our gut is really what has gotten us here and what's always going to help us survive. So That's some of the tricks. And of course, today, this day and age with social media, I'm a little younger than everybody in the room. I just turned 30 years old. So
we're about the same age.
Yeah, exactly. So social media, what I'm learning is I go out and get my information and analytics not from the people who are following me or my company, from the people who hate my company. So a lot of times I'll put in FUBU or Etonic and hashtag it, and you can't have thin skin. I see everything that people are saying about it, unlike the people who are telling us they love us. And then we approach the problem from that standpoint.
Interesting. So how do you, within all these companies you worked with or acquired and things, how do you inspire CMOs within your companies?
Well, first of all, we have a practice in our company called exercising the power of broke. So first of all, I don't want the CMO to spend all the money. But second of all, we want the CMOs to think as if they were broke. What would they do if they did not have the resources? Because sometimes the budgets can hinder people. And most of us, whether it's a revolution or it's fashion or where I got where I am today, it was because I didn't have the resources at hand and I thought outside the box. So we have our traditional budgets that we allocate for the traditional things such as social media, radio, print, whatever the case is. And then we have a small allocated area towards the CMOs that they can spend at their discretion due to their gut feeling, due to exercising the power of broke. And then we also ask for our CMOs to also touch the consumer and go out there where the consumer is really buying or moving the product. A lot of times we make decisions from 30,000 feet, and then we don't understand what happened.
It's interesting. We did a survey in the club. It's probably about a year ago now. And how many hours a week as a CMO do you spend actually face-to-face with customers?
Right.
And I think it was like under 6 hours a week.
Exactly.
Out of the 40 or 50, 60 hours they work. So.
And usually the
customers
we find are the kids. No matter what, I don't care if you're selling a car, I don't care what you're selling, it's usually that generation, that 18 to 25 that are talking about it more frequently than everybody else, and they're inspiring everybody else because they're getting the word out. When we were kids, I didn't have more than 10 friends. These kids have 1,000 on their Facebook.
Right, interesting. Can I take a few questions from the audience?
Sure.
Anyone have any questions?
Okay, I guess that's it. So.
Okay, thank you so much for coming. So, what's coming up on Shark Tank? What's next?
Shark Tank. Well, Shark Tank is it's a startup itself, and I'm really surprised and shocked that Shark Tank even made it. But Shark Tank is this great product that is now, it's a hot button because it's entrepreneurship. It's creating jobs. It's having people think that whether they were working at a company, they may not have a, they may get pink slip and no more, they won't have a career. So Shark Tank is really energizing entrepreneurship. And it's amazing. We never thought Shark Tank would last past season 1, but now it's the #1 show on Fridays. I think they're even trying to move us to Thursdays at this point. So I really am excited about it because I personally don't like or I don't really admire working with celebrities, argument's sake. I work with many of them over the course of my lifetime, and they're usually babies, and they usually don't want to work, and they want to receive all this money. And now, all of a sudden, I'm this notable person.
Right.
And I find it difficult to be in this position because I consider myself one of us.
Right.
I just want to work and handle my business. So, but it's really amazing where I'm this connector with entrepreneurship, whether it's banks or whether it's big corporations, and they're starting to work with me to bring this access to startups and everyday Americans and entrepreneurs.
Interesting. So, yeah.
Well, my history has proven that when we had FUBU and FUBU started to decline, we went and bought the old brand Coogee that Biggie Smalls and Bill Cosby used to wear on The Cosby Show. And we bought that out of bankruptcy in 2000. And what we understood was that the previous generation was going to say to the kids, well, this was a luxury brand that I had and it's reintroduced. And then we knew the kids were going to say, well, this is my brand now. But I always say the easiest thing to sell is the truth. Now, when you go back to Etonic already had so many amazing products as well as so many amazing endorsements. They had Akeem the Dream, Elijah Wan. They had all the tennis players and golf players behind it. So I knew that we already had penetration in the market and we already had people who knew the brand. Now, if I reintroduce it into a new generation, we think that we can get contagious consumer behavior due to the fact that they would say it's back out. And when they look at the history of it, this amazing library of products and celebrities, they would feel that they made the right decision. Because it came out with the Nikes of the world, the New Balances of the world, and there's few and far between brands of footwear that was out then, especially in my business also. When we were kids and we grew up, we would probably get a check or our allowance, and we would go to the mall and we would buy some clothes and maybe look to meet a guy or a girl. Kids these days, when it comes to fashion, technology is sucking the money out of their pockets. Before they even get their check, they have a new Bluetooth, they have the iPad 19, or they're not even going to the mall anymore looking for other kids. They're on YouTube. But athletic apparel is what they are still buying. Athletic apparel, whether the Lululemons of the world, the Nikes, the Reeboks, whatever the case is, they're buying that. So we felt that if we were going to sell any kind of fashion apparel, it was going to be either a high-end luxury brand like Louis or an athletic brand like Etonic.
Excellent. Other question, Pamela?
Well, first of all, and that's a good point, because even you look at something like FUBU, I will not bring back FUBU in the United States. The only way that I feel that I would be successful is where we have FUBU now. $19.99, in Walmart, it's your Levi's is your traditional American cowboy, FUBU is your traditional American urban kid. But when you look at those brands for the rub-off, we look at, first of all, what brands can we co-position it with? That are relevant today. So you'll look at an Etonic, we'll put it with the hipster kids who are making other brands such as watches, hats, things of that nature. So they will basically lend us their customer. And because we're no competition to them. We'll also license. We have a great licensing division. So we'll license name brands. So we would start to make maybe an Etonic sneaker. One sneaker is for athletic, but the next we'll go to Pitbull and make a Mr. Worldwide for EDM and kids who now only understand going out to Burning Man or any of these things where it's 200,000 kids and make this a new product within popular culture. It's not your father's, and you want the kids to come back and say, "Hey, Dad, this is not that old crusty stuff you used to wear," right?
I've never heard that phrase. No, I'm kidding. So, question for you. You talked about, you mentioned Gene and some things you're doing. How can we help? What are you looking for right now that maybe some brands might be interested in getting involved in? Anything?
I really think, one of the things that we're doing is we're doing a Mastronic program where we do branded integration. That's what got me here, really, and we do a lot of shows. So one of the products we have is Mastronics, where we'll put a legendary artist such as a Sting or a Stevie Wonder with somebody like a Tiezzo and a Steve Aoki, and they'll remake a popular song or start to create a song. We think that that's bringing the old with the new. That's kind of like MTV Unplugged, but MTV Plugged. We also work with a lot of brands. What we've been doing lately is really something like a Shark Tank. I've seen this in many corporations. I can't tell you the names right now, but many corporations are starting to get put their thinking caps on by making their staff and their employees and their C-level employees, making them entrepreneurs. We've been going to a lot of corporations where you'll see the uncomfortable act of all the CMOs and the CFOs and everybody get together and start pitching to a panel of what they have their interior sharks.
Right.
Obviously not Shark Tank because that's owned by ABC, Mark Burnett, whatever the case is, but for any attorneys in the house. So we're doing a lot of things like that. We're licensing, we're working. We've always worked with artists. I've helped the Kardashians initially, the Pitbull. I've helped Lennox Lewis. So we work with a lot of celebrities and brands, and we just love entrepreneurship.
Right.
At the end of the day, we want to put corporations with entrepreneurs and make it exciting, create jobs, and make corporations take this veil of being this big, huge company that doesn't care about the community, take that off of them,
Right.
and make sure that entrepreneurs out there in the world know that the corporations care.
We should definitely talk after today, too, because we're actually rolling out. There's a lot of interest within. We have 18 chapters now of CMOs that meet every couple months in 18 different cities.
As long as you're meeting outside of New York, because it's cold as hell.
It is, yeah. We have. In fact, I think I met you in LA, if I remember correctly. But
that's why I thought that's where I was going to go.
But anyway, we're actually, there's more and more interest to have startups engaging with the CMOs the chapter does. We should definitely chat after that.
Absolutely.
Listen, thank you so much for being
Thank you
here.
for having me.
Daymond John, everybody.
Thank you.